Let's go to the free state of Florida. Representative Salazar, you are recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Chairman Pro Tempore, and indeed, the free state of Florida. And Mr. Scott, I'm so sorry to hear what you're saying about your business, that you had to close down because of crime. That's not the American way. American way, 60% of business in the United States, it's composed of people like you. So very sorry. And you see, I wanted to share this with Chief Roach. I come from the city of Miami. South Florida is experiencing at this hour a 50-year low crime rate. And apparently Governor DeSantis has done something correctly, because he offered recently bonuses, $3,000, $5,000 bonuses for those police officers that wanted to come and join any of the police stations or police officers groups in the state. And 915 of them moved from other states and 47 from Illinois. Is not, I'm not boasting, I'm not happy in saying this, but we're doing something right in Florida that apparently other states are not. And I just wanted to start with you, Chief, and just your thoughts. Is that why my community is not experiencing, unfortunately, the same thing that you just described? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I can't speak directly on the laws in Florida because, quite frankly, I'm not familiar with them. But I can tell you bail reform has really made it difficult to recruit and retain officers in New York. When officers hit their 20 years in New York, they typically retire rather quickly, within 90 days. Whereas before we would have officers stay 25, 30 years, as soon as they hit their 20, they're usually out the door.
So this, you were telling about the bail. We do not have the cashless bail, which is something that works this way. If you are arrested, you walk out of jail without having to pay bail. In Florida, before you walk out of jail after you are arrested, you have to go through a detention hearing. Is that the case in the state of New York?
As I mentioned earlier, even with Class B felonies, drug-related Class B felonies, it's an appearance ticket. It's a piece of paper with a date and a time, and typically it's 2 weeks down the road.
And do those criminals or alleged criminals come back to that court date?
Oftentimes they do not.
So then what happens after?
If they miss court 3 times, an arrest warrant is issued.
All right, and then what happens after the arrest warrant is issued, if they were to be arrested?
They would be brought back to our jurisdiction, arraigned in front of the judge, and the judge would have to make a determination at that point.
So basically, for what you're telling me, is the problem that the business owners are facing is not so much that we don't have good laws on the books, is that our judicial partners are just not performing their part of the bargain.
As I mentioned before, I think judges should have the discretion to set bail, and I think that it would improve the situation if we were able to arraign these individuals after they were arrested in front of a judge.
So what do you think needs to happen in states like New York? Like I said, is not close to my district, but what do you think needs to happen in order to send the message to the judges, to the elected officials, and to the judicial partners that this scenario needs to change? Otherwise, we will not have any more stores.
I think conversations like this definitely help, and I think that educating the public and knowing and understanding that cases like assault third or rape third are not considered violent in New York. We can't do an arraignment for a nonviolent crime.
Right. So, Mr. Scott, people like you, so if you were to have a magic wand and you could write the law, and if you could write the scenario that would be most ideal for someone like you, what would that be?
Write a law to prevent the crime in the restaurant.
Yeah, it's like, what would your reality be? In front of your pancake shop.
I return once again to the action that supports local law enforcement to keep repeat criminals off the street.
So everything goes back to the police officers.
Goes back to supporting the local law enforcement. It goes back to preventing recidivism.
And finally, since no one has the monopoly on compassion, I understand that those who are committing the crimes may not be as privileged as some of the people that I represent. What do you think we should then do with those offenders in order to cajole them or to give them the incentive not to continue with that type of activity?
Answer the question, please, Mr. Scott. Go right ahead. I'm a little bit, since we got a little extra, so.
Thank you.
He's a nice guy, yeah.
And
What can we
with
do
the
as a
radio voice.
society in order to, what can we do as a society? It has nothing to do with political parties. It has nothing to do with who's more compassionate. What can we do in order to help those people not to engage in that type of activity, which doesn't take you anywhere? To jail.
I truly wish that I had the answer to that. I'm not a sociologist, and I know the causes are myriad. I think one thing is that this committee has actually recognized the problem and is taking steps to help rectify it, and I think that's a very positive step.
Any other member of the panel that would like to answer
Let's not
that?
get crazy, Representative
sorry,
Salazar. But
I was
in
a
fact,
news reporter, so I can ask. Thank you. I yield back.